Hey MK, how are you? Uh, Welcome to this question and answer session with the Pattern Trader. My name is Mark Shawzin, the Pattern Trader. I'd be happy to, take any of your questions, have a conversation. MK says, do you think that the Nasdaq is going to double top here? Well, it certainly is in a resistance zone, and every time you get to a major resistance zone, it always is some trouble. As to whether it does that, we'll have to wait and see. Um, Fighting this uptrend has been a losing battle. But I do think that you could see some trouble up here. Although some of these stocks are in a short squeeze. Like Zoom, I've been shorting for a long time, and it broke out of this downtrend. And now I just think you're just going to see the market just squeeze all of the shorts. Tesla broke out today, so I wouldn't really go to town trying to short the Nasdaq right now. Mustafa, thanks for your sentiments. Yeah, I'm okay. So yeah, the Nasdaq is right at this major trading high, but we've got a bunch of stocks. So today we had some news out of Johnson and Johnson. There were some major issues with their vaccine, create some blood clot, on and on. So now, it kind of makes a case for what we call a stay-at-home stock. So, the vaccine story was now it's the reopening. And with the reopening, stocks like Peloton and Zoom suffer. But now with this vaccine news, maybe you're thinking, a lot of people aren't going to take the vaccine. So it just kind of stalls the reopening. So it makes the plays like Zoom and Peloton, they were just trapped in this coil. And now this kind of gave a catalyst for a huge short squeeze. So when you see stocks like Zoom and Peloton, you see there's not even a downtick today. They just they got you by the shorts, and and they just keep squeezing. So Michelle said, "Would you get out of this Zoom short?" Yes, I would. I think you could get into a huge short squeeze here. Pio says, "What do you have to say about trading pin bars on a 5 minute? I think that's ridiculous. You might as well go downstairs, get a lottery ticket. The market can go anywhere in the next 5 minutes. I try and look at patterns that are going to translate, to bigger moves. So Tesla has been tracing out this huge double bottom, inverted head and shoulders for a while, and it had a resistance at $720. And I knew once it cleared that resistance, now, that pattern indicate that we're going to, go higher and perhaps substantially higher. And Tesla's trading at 740 now. So just hit that 720, and now it's, just clean through there. So yeah, I think you're getting like a short squeeze in the market. What are you guys trading? What are you guys looking at? What are you guys, interested in me kind of have a look at? We can have a chat about that. So come on, surely there must be something on your mind. What are you guys? Are you guys struggling here? Are you guys doing well? What are you doing well with? Um, Ismail says Bitcoin broke out into new highs today. That actually, Bitcoin has had a very constructive channel. So it's been just kind of, hanging out between 55 and 60, 50, and I've said the longer it kind of hangs out here, the healthier it is for the next breakout. And if you look, even the channel, it's got like these higher lows. So it's going to kind of been an uptrending within the channel. And then we broke out the upside today, made a new all-time high for Bitcoin. So it looks like, who knows where the end of, how high this could go. But it's had a very healthy consolidation as opposed to, previous years where you just had these giant, big moves. Bitcoin's just been hanging out, and, in an uncharacteristically low volatility. And so, it's always like the calm before the storm. And so, it was building this consolidation, and so it broke above there. And now you might have another clean move to, who knows, 80 to 100,000. Ethereum, the same. Dog wants to look at VLO. Epilero? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that looks like it's tracing out a pretty negative double top here. It's sitting right on this neckline around 69. And it looks like it cracks. I mean, there is a long-term uptrend, but it also looks like it's curling through the long-term uptrend. So, yeah, I think the story and energy may be over. If you didn't make money in Valera on the upside, then I don't. I wouldn't really hang out here. So yeah, I see that thing creating a double bottom, a double top at 84, and then like 75, and now it's ready to go right through the neckline. So that's actually looks like a good short. Ference wants to look at AMD. A lot going on in the chip sector, obviously, the shortage of the chips and whatnot. Maybe the good money on the upside's been made there too. So yeah, AMD is kind of tracing out this. I mean, it's on this long-term uptrend, but I don't know. It looks like if you haven't made the money already on that run up from 10 to 100. So Doug says he shorted VLO yesterday. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good for a short. So Farron says SMA, look like island tops. SMH, the semiconductor. That I don't know about. That's just kind of huddling very close to its all-time highs. And, it just probably looks like it should consolidate here, but it doesn't look like a short to me on the SMH. I'm looking at the long-term weekly. Let me just peel it back and look at a daily time frame here. Sometimes it's better to start from a long-term thing. Yeah, there's definitely some resistance here. I don't know if I would go toe-to-toe and try and bang that. Michelle says I'm long PayPal. Yeah, I've been long PayPal for a long time. It looks like a great stock. It looks like it's going to go and make a new high above 309 again. I think Square is also going to announce earnings pretty soon. Probably will have a blowout thing because they've started to adopt Bitcoin. You can see Square SQ close to its all-time high around $280. So I think those payment processors look like a great space to be in. What do you guys? Mustafa says, "What about gold?" Gold is it's making a nice key reversal today. Traced out a double bottom. I don't know what to think about gold here. I mean, empirically, you've got that huge double bottom. Let's see how we close today. We've got a key reversal. I don't know. I still need to see how this thing behaves around the 1760 level. Get through there. See what silver. Yeah, silver's kind of perking up today. Silver has a nice looking key reversal. You know what? There could be an interesting, little bottom in here. So I think on a risk reward, perhaps silver looks like it's starting to turn around. But yeah, gold, I think you could buy it probably with a sell stop under today's low. Wayne wants to look at the Euro Australian. So it looks like it's kind of tracing out a reversal pattern, but because of how steep it came down, probably needs to just kind of, go back and forth sideways for a while. But it looks like there's a weekly and daily double bottom that I think over time this thing should work its way higher. So what else are you guys looking at? I'm looking at this stock, QuantumScape QS. Looks like it's got a really long-term bear pattern. It's just sitting on this ledge around 42. And I think eventually that thing goes lower under $42. Dog says, Zoom covering your shorts. I would put a buy stop over today's high right now, 339.18. If you haven't covered your shorts, put a stop loss over today's high. And, parents says, look like J&J. Yeah. So look, I was saying yesterday on my webinar series that Zoom was kind of coiling. And whenever you try and push something down and then you can't, it's like a beach ball. You put your hand on top of the beach ball and you push it underwater, push, push, push. You can't get any farther. It just pops up. And I think that's what's happened with Zoom. It's just like it had attempts at 310, then it went to 305, made new 8-month lows, popped back into the 320 to 330 range. You just can't get this thing down. So I think it just it's kind of like a pressure valve, and at some point, I'll look at reshorting this thing. May even come off today. So we'll see. It's just, this is to me just a short covering rally. It has all the feel of a short covering rally. So, I just let it run out of steam and look for another spot to get short. Thanks, Zubayd. I really appreciate that. I've been really struggling. Zarb says, is there a head and shoulders on the 1 hour for gold to short? Yeah, so that's why I would kind of stay away from those intraday bars, Zorab. I'd look at the big picture. So no, I would not short gold right now. There's just not enough upside. It's tough, even long in here. I think gold's just going to be banging around trying to find its way in here, but I would not. Well, let me just take a look at it. But I basically caution against trading intraday bars. You just get a false look. It looks like something and it's not real. But let me see what you're looking at. I can't even see what you're looking at to see that this would be a short on a 1 hour bar. This has just gone straight up. So no, I would not short into that. So I don't think there's enough mileage, either side to do anything with it right now. I'd kind of leave it alone. Let's see how it settles out. Let's see where it closes. I like to set up my trades, around, a certain risk reward parameter. So I look at the daily close, how the market closes relative to the high and low. And then I can kind of set up a strategy one way or another. If I want to buy it, put a buy above, the high of the day, put my stop loss slightly above, the close, and set up some kind of risk reward thing. Gold's pretty dicey in here, but at least you can do that. Right now, it's just flying all over the place, and I would just let it settle out. Mustafa says, you mentioned putting a buy stop on gold at today's low. No. I said, Mustafa, so, we have already an established double bottom price pattern on the daily and the weekly. So that pattern suggests that there's an underpinning of support here. So based on that, you kind of want to look on the upside. And then today, we look like we have a key reversal bar. When I draw it out on today's webinar, you'll see it, Mustafa, where you made a new low. You look like you're closing closer to the high. But that's why the close is so important, because we're like 5 hours before the close. So whatever it looks like now, who knows where it'll be 5 hours from now. So that's why I like to see, how a market closes relative to the high and low. And if, we kind of close closer to the high than the low, we've got this double bottom, then it looks like maybe there's a case for going long. So then the way I would set up that trade going into, next session is I put a buy stop over today's high. So let me kind of use some numbers here. So right now, the range in gold is, you have a low of around 1722 and a high of like almost 50, 1749. 1722 to 7, and right now you're trading 1742. So you're trading closer to the high than the low. So if we closed here, with this kind of key reversal bar, then what I would do is I put a buy stop over today's high around 1750, and then I would risk somewhere below, the unchanged, which is 1742. So I'd risk to like 1737 or something. And then you got to say, well, if I'm going to risk $13, can I see myself, clear to make $26 or $39? So I usually like to set up trades with at least a 2-to-1 risk reward. Right now, it's kind of tough, but let's just say you take a small position and you take that for a flyer. At least that's a justifiable trade. Just kind of looking at a 15-minute chart, arbitrarily trying to figure out where. So, I think gold is tough right now, but I could go with a trade where you basically buy it over today's high, you put a stop loss somewhere over, under today's close, and you see what it does. Ishmael says, what about S&P short? Look, I mean, all of these indexes are trading at, long-term resistance zones. I don't think it looks like a great short. So when you go short, you have to see in your mind, okay, once I go short, I want to see this thing go like this. And because this thing has been going up so steadily, it has to create a pattern or some sideways thing where you can kind of go down against this big up move. So no, I would not keep fighting the market. I would wait for the market to tell you what to do. So you could see, I mean, if we get a reversal here, if we make a new high and close on the low, and again, that's why I wait for the end of the day. Let's see what the Dow is kind of, see the Dow went to a new high and it's kind of closing, it's got this little reversal here. So it's starting to, show some kind of signs of a hiccup at these major, look, I think all of these indexes are at nosebleed levels. They're all redlining, but the market can stay irrational a lot longer than you can stay solvent. So I always wait for some clear sign that a market's going to turn, because otherwise you just give away so much money that gives you a 15-minute thing where it looks like it's going to start turning, you short into it, and then it's right back up. So the markets are, at a difficult stage right now. They're churning, the dollar's churning within a certain level, the indexes are churning at a certain level. And I like to find things that are going to go clear from one level to the other. So for me, it was clear that once Tesla broke that 720 resistance level, that it was going to go to another level. And right now we're trading at 740. So that's what I look for. At $20 move, I can take, almost no risk on that trade. It's probably going to go higher than that. And so that's what I look for. But to battle it out in these, micro ranges, that's where you're going to do in your mind and you're going to do in your account balance. Just fighting it out in these churning things is detrimental to your emotional and psychological and certainly financial health. So it's definitely tricky in here. One short that I like is QuantumScape, QS, trading about 42.40 right now. It's got a long-term head and shoulders descending wedge. It's just been bouncing off this $40 area so many times that once something bounces so many times, eventually it's going to go through. I actually bought some QuantumScape puts today. I bought the $41 puts for around under $1, about 90 cents. I haven't checked where they are now. I'm just kind of trying it out because I think that's something that could be vulnerable. If the market starts moving down, I like QuantumScape, QS. Dog wants to know about KTOS. It's always on my radar, always kind of checking it out. It's kind of got this double bottom, but now we're kind of forming this symmetrical triangle with kind of a descending slant, these lower highs. So it's kind of creating this symmetrical triangle right in here. And, whichever way this thing breaks, it's likely that. So, I mean, we do have this double bottom. It may, hang out here a little bit. I think it still looks a little bit heavy. I wouldn't really wouldn't do anything with it right now. It looks like, the next move is going to be somewhat lower. John says, do you use Ninjatrader to trade gold? I don't really talk about my broker relationships, John. I don't endorse brokers. They don't endorse me. So I'd rather stay out of that conversation. But all of those brokers, Ninjatrader, they're all good brokers. I guess your question is because I'm in the U.S. So, I have been able to structure myself so I can trade gold, and I'll just leave it there. Yeah, the regulators have made this, they banned spot gold trading, probably to protect the futures industry. So I'm also looking at BYND. I want to see how it kind of behaves here. Not sure why. Oh, there it is. I think BYND is going lower. I want to kind of see how it closes today. It looks like we're having a bit of a reversal there. So if we start going through, yesterday's unchanged level, I might buy some puts on BYND. Yeah, I like the way that stock's coming in. BYND is starting to come in. I think it's just sitting on a ledge too. I think it's sitting on a ledge at 130, 130. It cracks under 130. We're going to 115 on that stock. All right. So hard to trade it. Are you talking about BYND or gold? Safe. Yeah, I think BYND is in this, it's in this channel going downhill, it's like got this support, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of energy here to, sustain any support. You can always get these short covering rallies, and short covering rallies are, really a bitch. I mean, they get hold of you and they extend a lot further than you think. So, all these areas, all of these stocks are in these major support areas. And, certain ones like QuantumScape and BYND just looks like they're running out of gas, that it just doesn't look like there's anything that could propel them higher. Should never say that because, once you get in these little support areas, you could always get caught. But that's why I want to watch the close. If we close what I call a key reversal, where we made a new high today, and if we close through, yesterday's unchanged and close lower into that support again, then I think it's very likely you're going to go through 130. I'll probably start buying some puts or shorting the stock or doing something. But I like QuantumScape. I think that's, it's a $42 stock. You could short the stock. You could buy puts. Actually, the puts are a lot cheaper than they have been, in periods past, where I've been usually shorting the stock of QuantumScape only because the options have been so expensive. But the options are getting less expensive. So gold, again, gold is, had this weekly and daily double bottom. I don't know if that will translate into a huge sustained move. Although, it did everything that I thought it would. It was in this long-term weekly ascending broadening triangle. And I've been telling our members since January, since gold was in the 1900s, that gold was going to, drop to under 1700. And we hit 1671. So it fulfilled my downside objective. And now it's kind of digging in, at this 1700 level. And, I think there is a basis for a rally here. I just don't know. Yeah, so QuantumScape is coming off pretty, I told you about it at 42.40 just a moment ago. It's 42.16 now. So, yeah, maybe we get... So whenever you get to a major high level like the Nasdaq is, it never just sails through like a knife through butter. There's always some catalyst, that comes. It's just amazing. And now you have this Johnson & Johnson thing, which, this stock market was trading on like a Goldilocks, economy. You have, stimulus, you have, record GDP, you have the reopening. And now it comes something that stalls the story. And now you're trading at these huge valuations. So yeah, it's really susceptible to go the other way. And then, so within that, I just like to see where are the pockets of vulnerability. And I like this QuantumScape. Let me just put this stock up. Yeah, I mean, this thing's a no-brainer. I mean, I can't see like there's any risk of this thing going higher. So if you're short, you're always thinking, well, like Zoom today, where can this go against me? But I think this thing has had so many bumps off this $40 area that it's run out of gas, that I think the next major move is lower under this $40 area. Where's the 50-day moving average, John? I don't really look at those. So Ishmael, I only look at daily charts, when I'm looking at something, daily or weekly. I don't look at intraday charts. Dog, you're welcome, man. Yeah, so, look, this market is channeling affair, and you just got to look for your opportunity. So what I try and do is like with a stock like Zoom, I'm sorry, Beyond Meat, where I think I'm looking to go long, short. I'm all mixed up today. Is that, for instance, today you went higher. You made a new high. What was the high in BYNB? Like 135, and you're trading at 133 now. So I will use yesterday's unchanged, which is, call it, whatever, 132.25. So if the market comes through unchanged, that indicates that it's going to reverse, that it went from a new high, now it's coming through the unchanged, and now it's going to reverse in the direction that I think the major trend is. So sometimes I will, I don't know if I would do it. It's better to wait until something closes and then use that, resistance. Sometimes when the ranges are bigger, I'll fool around with just, using, that, where it comes to unchanged, I'd short it there, use today's, high as a stop loss. And, but, I would just let it all settle out. I don't think there's any need to trade that thing intraday. Dragon says, is it possible? I don't know. I have to see if, I don't think this software allows me to share my screen. And I have to check that. I just started using this software. I can't see where it does. So I don't know that you can share your screen here. But I do a webinar session each day this week at 5 p.m. Eastern time. You can message our support team, ask them for the link. I should have it, but I don't. And then I go and I show you everything that I'm looking at on the charts. Hey, Yoni. Welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, we've just been talking about, a lot of the markets here. One stock that I really like on the short side is QS, QuantumScape. I bought a bunch of puts. I bought the 41 puts that expire at the end of this week. So I've only got 4 days. But this stock looks like it's vulnerable. If it gets hit, it could really get tagged. So check out that link. Send a query to our support team if you want to attend the live sessions. And then I go on the chart and show you exactly what I'm looking at and how I kind of size up my trades. So to me, it's always about, can you get in a trade and justify the risk reward? And to me, the reward is always got to be, far outweigh the risk. So if I'm going to take a 50 pip risk in whatever I'm looking at, I've got to see myself clear to make 100, 150 pips on that trade. If I can't see, some clarity, some path to make 150 pips, I'm not going to do that trade. I'm not looking to get short gold on some, 1 hour, head and shoulders or whatever you saw there. I did not see the same thing, and that's just asking for trouble. And, it doesn't give you enough of a trade. So even if you short it and you make a couple dollars and then, 15 minutes later, it's back in your face. And yeah, so Sella says, should I stay bullish on pound New Zealand? Because I'm starting to panic here. We should never panic. If you're panicking, it means you have too big a position in the market. So first thing you should do is pare back on your position. Yeah, look, it's just cutting. It's just, I still think it'll go higher. It's not an easy trade. Let's see where we close today. You can see we've been up, we've been down, it's all over. And that's why intraday trading, you can see a million different things. I like to wait and see how something closes and then make a decision, on, how to set up my risk reward based on that. Let's see. Dog says IBM is cratering. Yeah, I think it hit, this resistance level. I said maybe it would have a run to, maybe the 145s. But I think long term, the chart of IBM is lower highs. So yeah, you had this recent run, and I was looking at getting, but I think that 137 is going to be a bridge too far, and I think so. Now it looks like it's just going to be range bound. I don't really see it going up. I don't see it going down, so I would kind of leave that alone. So look for United States. I came in a Zoom, but now should I chase it? So did you buy it or sell it short? So it's going to be interesting to see how Zoom closes. I mean, I still think this thing is inherently in a downtrend. You've got all of these lower highs. I don't really see it going for a sustained rally, but that's what these environments are. They're ripe for these short covering rallies, and they could be major. I mean, this thing hit 302 and today it hit 340. So, you can have these runs, but I still see Zoom is in the cadence of these, lower highs. We did take out a recent high today. Let me just see. We went above this high. Right around 340. What was today's high? Under just 339. So it's still a case of these lower highs. So, I mean, I still think Zoom's going long, short, down long term. It's a question of, how much gas does it have on this rally? I'm kind of surprised by the price action today, but I knew yesterday I had a short position and I got out of half of it. But when something closes on the high of the day, so yesterday I was short Zoom coming into yesterday, and it opened $5 lower. And I was making all kinds of money. I had like 8,000 shares short, making like 40 grand right on the opening. And then all day, it, spends like coming up. So if I'm short, what I actually like happening is the market opens higher and then fails. Then I know then I'm good. But in contrast, what happened yesterday was that Zoom went into a support area, opened there, and then started going up and then closed on the high of the day. And so I never like to see that. If I'm short, I never like to see a bar where the close is against my position. The same thing as if I'm long and then the market goes up and then closes on the low of the day. So I knew I was in trouble yesterday. I just didn't know how much gas, this would have, from that close. I didn't think that reversal was of such a consequence that we'd see a $15 rally today. But, I'm still kind of keeping my shorts. I'm staying stubborn. Obviously, if we close in here, I'm just going to, get rid of everything and, start over. I just think that this is in a lower cadence, and, we'll see how we finish today. The close is everything. Where we are now, where it's 1 hour from now, the close, how something closes relative to the high and low, tells me everything I need. And yesterday I knew I was in trouble. I knew on the close. I closed out half my position, and I said, internally I knew I should have, closed the whole position. And then today it just gapped open and, kept going higher. It's a classic short squeeze. But, let's see how much, mileage this has got. I still think, this stock is going lower, and, I might just have to just get out of it now and look for another opportunity, or this thing could just, come off at the end of the day and I'll still stay short. So, I still think the stock is, even in this area, we've been hitting this common low about 305 to 310, but all that time we've been kind of stair-stepping lower, lower highs, 345, 335, 3. And so I've just been shorting every time this thing, rallies. I've been shorting into it. Today, I don't know if it'll be the same thing. We'll see. Nike, Yoni wants to look at NKE, Nike. Yoni, have you been trading? So NKE, let me just peel out of here and take a look at. Yeah, it looks like it's been banging against. So it looks like Nike's got a reverse ascending triangle. So you've got this, reverse, low, higher low, higher low. So you kind of got this reverse slant this way, and then, a common high here. So you've got a reverse ascending triangle going on here. And those are kind of neutral patterns. I just kind of look at, I kind of put boundaries and structures around prices and then see how they move. And so, I don't know, Nike looks like it, hit that 150 and, is running out of steam. So it's just neither here nor there. Yeah, I can't see it going higher than 350 either. But that's the thing with these short covering things. They can really get you by the thing, and you can't justify it. So let's see. We're starting to drift lower. We hit that 339, and we're starting to drift lower. I mean, I kind of stuck to my guns. I mean, I'm getting my nuts squeezed today. Sorry about that. If there are any women on here, I didn't mean to offend anybody, but I got obstinate. And sometimes when you get married to your position, like to me, Zoom is just going to go lower. But on the weekly, I was looking at it a couple of weeks ago. I know this. There was a weekly reversal. There's a lot of support there, so it's very easy to see how there's a vacuum here where there could just be a short squeeze. And I said it on my webinar yesterday. I drew that descending triangle, and I said it's very possible they could break the upside of this triangle and do a short squeeze. And that's exactly what they did. Now the question is, will they be able to, keep it going? And we're drifting lower now. We're taking a nice drift lower. So, guess what? If we go through unchanged on this thing, or today's low, which is 325.5, I'm just going to short more. I will short more. By the way, pound New Zealand just went positive on the day, so I think that will, it's ugly. Pound New Zealand is ugly, but I think it will find a way to go higher. If we have this conversation a month from now, I think pound New Zealand will be higher. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yoni says, I made 300 pips with pound New Zealand recently. I think you can get back in, Yoni, get back on that train, and you'll make another 300 pips. So good on you, man. So N4M says, where's the next pump? I like QuantumScape. I've been saying, on this broadcast I started 40 minutes ago, I said QuantumScape, which was at 42.40, is a short, and now we just went under 42. So I would short QuantumScape. And maybe even Zoom. If you guys got the stones, short Zoom here, 334, and put a stop over the high, 339. And you may get rewarded. I just stuck with my short, but I'm not proud of it. I mean, that's just, I saw I was going to get really hammered today. And, let's see what happens by the end of the day. Okay, good on you, Yoni. I think, pound New Zealand, you just can't watch it. You just got to trust that it's going to figure a way to get somewhere on its journey. I think the weekly and the daily double bottom tells you that this thing's bottomed. And so if something's bottomed, it's going to go higher. But it could take, 3 days, or it could take 3 weeks of just, going like this. You go crazy, you throw in the towel, and then, one day it's just up 300 pips. Pound Australian is a kind of a different animal, CJ. Yeah, I mean, you should correlate them, but I kind of look at each trade one onto the other, and I prefer pound, the look of pound New Zealand. Although, pound Australian has also got that double bottom at 174 that I think will hold. So I think there's a bottom in there. I just like the look of pound New Zealand a little bit better. Okay, probably going to end it there unless there's any questions. Check it out. So I'm kind of looking at BYND short. I'd like to see it come through unchanged today around the 132 area. QuantumScape is up 25 cents, so the unchanged is what, 41.75. So I like the look of QuantumScape. I think it's just a good risk reward trade. Probably short it here and put a risk over today's high. You probably won't see today's high. I talked about Euro odd earlier, Shello. I think it's tracing out a mini support area here also. Probably going to take some time. So a lot of these trades now, the dollar, they're trading in these little mini price channels. I hate that. I don't really hate back and forth. I'm not a sideways trader. I'm not looking to take 25 pips out of the market. I like looking at the thing like Tesla, where I know if it breaks out at 720, I'm going to get a run for my money. And today, we went to 740 as we broke that resistance level. So that's what I'm looking for in my trading. I'm looking for, if I get short QuantumScape here, I think I'm going to see a print of $37, which is a 10% move, but on leverage, I can make a fortune. So that's kind of what I look for in what I'm doing. Mustafa, thank you as always for your support. I'll see you later. Euro pound, and then I'll end it there. Frostbite wants to look at Euro pound. That's an interesting one. I've always thought that this was going to find a way higher also. Not an easy, chart to trade. Probably not something that you should always trade. But I like the look of this thing. I don't think it's going to turn around all at once. But I think it's made a funky double bottom on the daily and the weekly. And, I would, certainly trade it, with a wide stop and a lot of patience. Again, I think this is going to be a bump and grind, but I think, we may have found an interesting low here. I think the long-term charts are higher, and, we kind of came off, put a dagger in the sand. We went under 85, closed, at 87. And I think that's going to be a low. I don't think you'll see, last week's low, but the question is, I don't think it's also going to go straight up. So I think if you get long, you just have to have a month-long time horizon. Yoni, thanks, man. It's really good to see you. I'll call you and catch up. I've been, had a couple surgeries in the last 2 months, Yoni. I've been kind of struggling. So, but I'd like to chat with you. Hopefully your dad is doing well. Hopefully he's playing tennis. I haven't played tennis in 2 years because of my injuries. Michelle, thanks, man. It's good getting to know you. Thanks for, hanging out every day. It's great getting to know new people around the world. When I started the pattern trader, I had no idea what I was, getting myself into. And, I looked at it as a business, but what I didn't realize was that I'd be talking to people like Yoni. I met Yoni many, many years ago. His dad was actually in an area that I lived. His dad and I actually played a set of tennis. And, I get to meet great people around the world. And that to me has been the greatest thing about this business. People always say, well, if you're making so much money, why would you do this? And it's a very legitimate question. If I was sitting on the other side, that would be the first thing I would ask. And, look, I'm trading the markets. I'm looking at all my positions while I'm talking to you. I've got a ton of money at risk here. But, the markets go up and they go down. You make money, you lose money. I've been doing this for a long time. I've made a lot of money. And, I love just sharing ideas. I love the markets. I've got a, hopefully it comes through. I've got a passion for the markets because it always challenges how you look at things. It always puts, your approach to, to the wood, because the market is always right. We can have our ideas on how to, approach it based on different systems and approaches, but the market is always going to do, its thing. And so it's always constant. It's always fluid. It's always challenging your ideas. And that's the other thing that, I would say is that, I would say there's, when I talk about my methodology, it's like a 4-step approach. You look at the trend, you see if there's a chart pattern, you try and find what I call my insurance day bar, key reversal, an inside day bar, and then you layer it, with a buy stop or sell stop. And it's a 4-step process. I think the one thing that, I've left out of that equation is E, the environment. So there'll be so many times where I see a certain pattern and I know what it is, I do it, and then the thing, just goes. But then, there'll be another time where I could see exactly the same pattern and then nothing happens or I lose or whatever. And it really has to do with the environment. So sometimes, and sometimes you don't really understand what the environment is until it's kind of, you look backwards and say, wow, this has just been a churn cycle and I've just been chewed up. And, if I look, 3 weeks ago and I look here, the prices are the same, but in between, I've just been chewed up in between, so the environment is very important. And so you got to say, is this an environment where, things are moving? You've got volatility. So people always talk about, volatility, as a dirty, as a dirty word. I love volatility because it means that if I'm right, I'm going to get, paid. And if I'm wrong, like everything else, you should just, do good risk management and get out. But, there are certain times where the environment, there's just nothing you can do. I mean, if you look back historically, so this year, stocks have been just straight vertical. But if you look at, many other periods, they go like, and that's my fear is that we've had this great, era of just stocks moving. And at some point, trees don't grow the sky. And so it doesn't mean that, stocks are going to go down. It just could mean that they go into this consolidation. Now, I'm confident that I'll always be able to find something. It doesn't matter what the is. But you also need the environment on your side. And that's the other equation. It's like I'll see a setup. And in one environment, it'll just translate. I'll just, make a huge move. And in another environment, just because of the environment, it's just stagnant. So you have the same system, you have the same approach. There's just, other things going on. So this is the constant thing that you have to be, monitoring. You have to be monitoring your internal cycle. You have to be monitoring and it doesn't have to be that complex. I mean, I just drill it down to a picture, a visual. I can just open a chart and it speaks to me. And then I try and find the risk reward within that picture. And even if I don't get it right, I can justify it. And if I do that enough times, I will hit, the mother lode on one of them. And as I've talked about, like 8 weeks ago, I shorted the Nasdaq. I made 7 figures on that. And so it doesn't matter if I screw up for the next 3 months. It's that trade will take care of me for a while. I also bought Lyft at $45 and ran it into the mid 60s. So that's what you're looking for in your trading. But the market's not always giving you that environment where you buy Lyft at 45 and 3 weeks later it's at 65. So I could look at that same pattern in Lyft, on something else, and just because of the environment, you don't get that same push. It doesn't mean that your system or your methodology is wrong. And I think that's, the key thing is that the market puts you, feet to fire, that, makes you self-question yourself all the time, have self-doubt. And so you just have to have faith that if you apply consistent methodology with good risk management, that over time, so I think that's the problem with most traders is they're looking at the market in, daily sequences. Have I made money in the last 15 minutes? Have I made money by the end of the day? Have I made money this week? And, I say that you should look at, in much bigger increments. What is your objective for the next 6 months, next 9 months? Because, the market's going to go through all kinds of stages. And, it could do nothing for 6 months and you look like, well, I haven't made any money or I've lost money. And then all of a sudden something comes and then, in 6 weeks you make your year. And that's just the way trading is. but it's very difficult emotionally and to sit through some of these things because we got to justify our existence, right? Every day we're sitting in front of a screen and we're trying to figure stuff out. And if we're not making any or we're losing, very difficult to go to our wife or our friend and say, I'm a trader and so it's a whole other ballgame. But that's what's great about it. Guacamelo says, "It's safe to say the trend is your friend." Actually, Guacamelo, I make all of my money going, finding reversals in trend. So when the Nasdaq made a top on February 19th, made a key reversal within an ascending, broadening thing, that was the very all-time high of the Nasdaq, and I bought a boatload of put options, betting on a decline, and I made 7 figures just from that reversal. So yeah, the trend is your friend. But I also recognize that trends do end. And when they end, they have, good reversals. So, pound New Zealand, there was a huge downtrend from, the heart of the pandemic. Pound New Zealand went from 218 all the way to 185. Huge downtrend. So in that case, you could say the trend's your friend. But at some point I saw at 185, there was this double bottom, this pattern that suggested that downtrend was ending. And now we're going to go back into the secular trend. So you got to be careful about, saying that. Yes, you want to be in sync with the momentum. Yes, you want to be in sync with the trend. But trends do end. And the nice thing is when they end, they put on a nice chart pattern and they tell you that they're going to end. They're going to go the other way. All right, guys. Thanks a ton. All right, guys. Perhaps I'll see some of you later. Yoni, it's great to see you again, and I will catch up with you. I've just been, I'll explain it to you when I speak to you. But it's